artists, Miss Maggie here. Today we are going to do a project where you are going to learn how to draw a person realistically and in action. Once you've got this way of drawing down, you can draw people doing anything you possibly could want to draw them doing. It's so neat. I always found drawing people really challenging. That was one of the things that stumped me. But because of that, I worked at it and I came up with a way that I can teach young artists to draw people. And I've seen what they've created over the years. Amazing artwork that shows people in action, not just standing like this, not with the hands behind their back and smiling, because hands are hard to draw, but doing anything, like doing martial arts or climbing a mountain or superheroes or scuba diving, all sorts of things. Some of you have even done this with me before. So let's jump in. And if you're like, oh, I got this, then you can try drawing a person doing an action of your choice. Or if you're like, okay, let's just see how she does this, I'll try, then just follow step by step along with me, and we'll draw a person running. And of course, you could turn that person who's running and playing into a soccer player or a sprinter or just playing at the beach or all sorts of things. So let's see what supplies we need and let's get started. We're just going to need a couple supplies today. You are going to want small drawing paper, at least one. You might want an extra today. And you're going to need a pencil and eraser, and you're going to want a ruler today. Okay, go get those supplies and meet me right back here. Today, we are going to be drawing people that look realistic, and there's an idea that we need to use in order to do that. It is the idea of proportion. Proportion is how large something is compared to something else. When you use realistic proportion, then things look real. It's a tool for doing that. So for today's project, we're going to use an idea called proportion. Proportion is how large something is compared to something else. Well, how do we do that when we're drawing? Well, let's look at these two drawings right here. One of these, the head, is a certain size compared to the body, and on this one, the head is a very different size compared to the body. So the artist used proportion in different ways. Proportion, how large something, like the head, is compared to something else, like the body. One of these, the artist used realistic proportion, right? This person could have more detail, but it still looks like realistic size. That's not realistic. It's fun, but it's not realistic. Imagine me if I had that proportion. Would my head even fit in the screen? Come on. So today we're going to try out realistic proportion. And to see how that really works, the first thing you're going to need is your ruler. The question we need to answer is, how many heads long is your body? So put one hand on your head and mark the ruler up against it, the edge of the ruler, and then with your other hand, put it under your chin so that you are squeezing the ruler with your fingers and holding it, but you know how long your head is. And now we're to find out how many heads long your body is. See how I put my hand that was on my head under my chin, and I lowered the ruler? That gets to 2 heads. And then I bring the other hand down, and I'm going to keep using the part of my ruler that is as long as my head to go down my body. And I'm counting how many heads long my body is. I'm at 6 and a little bit more, 6.5. How many heads tall is your body? So, how many units is your body? How many of your heads did it take to measure your whole body? We're going to use that same idea for drawing. So, you're going to need your drawing paper now, and let's use it vertically for this first one. And let's still use our ruler, but we're going to use this in a different way. And if you've done this project with me before, you know we used something like this. Your unit can be anything, but your unit is going to tell us how big your head is going to be. So for this project, our head is going to be 1 inch long. I'm even going to mark that on my ruler. See that blue right there? I started at 0 and I went to the 1. That's how big my unit is going to be. It can be any size, but it's got to be the same for the whole drawing of the person, okay? And 1 inch is a good size to do. So we are going to draw a person, and we know that the unit is the size of the head. I'm going to decide where to put my head on the paper. If I put my head down here, I might not have space for the whole person. So I'm going to put my head up, high up on my paper that is vertical or tall. So up here, I'm going to put a little mark at the top and the bottom of one and a light little line there. That is how big the head's going to be. And I can actually turn that into an oval. Are you drawing along with me? This is a great time to draw along. So there we go. The head is 1 unit tall. Now, here's a question. Once you have that, how big is your torso? Your main part of your body here. If I measured my head outside, and then I take that amount and I do 1 down to my hips, from the here down to my hips, it's 2 units. So I can use this, and I can line up the bottom of that, and I go 1 unit and 2 units right to there, and that's where my hips are going to be. I'm going to come back to my shoulder and my arms, and I'm going to do my legs. Now, here's a question. How many units are your legs? We want to do the top part of your legs first, the thigh. How many units is that? I bet if you measure it, the top part of your leg from the hip to the knee is going to be 2 units. And so I'm going to go 1, I need to do 1 more, 2, and that's to the knee. Now, how many is it to the ankle? Measure that too with your ruler. That is going to be 1, 2 units as well. That is how long our legs are in proportion to our body. Did you know they're that long? They're a lot longer than we think. Now, let's do the other leg. Same thing. 1, 2 to the knee, and then 1, 2 to the foot. See, I went right to the 2. That's 2 units there because I'm using the ruler. That helps out, doesn't it? So I've got the head, 1 unit, the torso, center part of the body, 2 units, and then the legs are 1, 2 to the knee, 1, 2 to the ankle. Check them both. 1, 2 to the knee, 1, 2 to the ankle. It's looking like a stick figure, isn't it? Well, that's because we're creating the skeleton, the bones inside. This is all going to get covered over. Don't worry, your person's not going to be that skinny. I told you, they're going to look real. So let's go back to the shoulders. We need a little bit of a neck. The neck is about 1/4 of a unit, or just come down a little bit. Thereabouts is where the neck is. And our shoulders, well, that's just about the same as our head. I'm going to do my shoulders about 1 unit long. There we go, like that. And from there is where my arms are going to come out. This part of my arm is about as long as my head. Huh, isn't that neat? So that can come down here. 1 to the elbow, and then the next part, yeah, that's about the same length as my head too. It's kind of hard to do, huh? 1, and then 1. And what's this arm going to do? You get to decide. You don't have to make your body doing exactly like mine. And if you've done this before, you can challenge yourself for sure and do a different position. Okay, so I have my person. They are running or something. I don't know what yet, but I have my step 1, my skeleton, done. And so next, we need to start bringing this body to life. I'm going to add the joints. Joints are everywhere your body moves. Where does your body move? Where the body moves, we are going to put little circles, sometimes larger, sometimes smaller. Like for instance, my wrists are very important, so I'm going to put circles on my wrists. Oh, what about my elbows? And elbows are a little bit bigger than wrists. And shoulders. Shoulders are important. And knees and ankles, ankles, knees. Do I put a joint there? That's the middle of my leg. Definitely, I don't want my leg bending there. That's on my shin. Don't bend your shin. Bend your knees and your ankles. What about my hips? I wouldn't be able to walk, run, dance, or almost anything without hips. And hips are large, so I'm going to put a larger circle there, kind of like the head, but on its side. Okay, shoulders, elbows, wrists, hips, knees, ankles. We're going to add one more thing that's not actually a joint, but an important part of our body, our rib cage. Our rib cage keeps our heart and our lungs safe. And that is going to come from the shoulders down about a unit and then back up to the shoulder. That large shape is going to help form our body. If you have all of your joints in and your rib cage, you're ready for step 3. We are going to add some muscles. Muscles help our body move, and they connect in these spaces in between. The way I'm going to draw them is that from circle to circle, I'm going to make those shapes connect. Now, if your person is a bodybuilder, give them some big muscles. If they're not, they can have smaller muscles. You can decide how to make your person unique. Hey, that neck needs a little bit of meat on it, doesn't it? I have muscles in here too. And I've got my stomach and muscles. And I've got my thighs. Those are going to go from hip to knee, so I've got that on both sides, and hip to knee, and hip to knee. Those shapes are overlapping because the legs are overlapping. I'll decide which leg is in front in the next step. And down to the ankles, knees to ankles. That's starting to look more like a real person. What about hands and feet? That would be useful, wouldn't it? So, feet point in the direction the person is going. This person's going that way. And so I'm going to do some skinny triangles that go from the top and the bottom of the circle, pointing in the direction the person's going. But this leg, it's pulled back, so that will actually be pointing down. But the toes aren't pointing that way. They're pointing still with the person going that way. Hands, you can get very fancy with the hands, but I usually start just with mittens. I put some mittens on there, and I can add more details later, but it tells me, yep, that's where the hands will be. Next, you get to turn your drawing into a real person. Isn't that fantastic? So, with this real person, let's see what we can add. Well, we can add a face, of course. Eyes are in the center of our head. That's a good proportion thing to know. They're looking this way. So I'm going to do carrots looking in that direction. I'm going to do eyebrows. I'm going to do a nose coming down and a mouth. If you go back to the self-portrait videos, I show more detail on this. This person's small, so it's not going to have all the details, but you can still see it. And hair is a little bit bigger than the head, and so it's going a little bit larger. And so there I go. I have some hair. Put on whatever sort of hair you think your person should have. And now clothes. Oh, that's important, isn't it? Clothes goes around the body. Whatever sort of clothes it is, it's bigger than the body. So I'm going to draw it so it goes around the body. And so the sleeves go around. And the shirt goes around. And the shorts go around. Now I've got a lot of lines here. I think I can erase some of them, and that will help me out. Because if I have clothes on here, I don't need to see the skeleton and the muscles and the joints anymore. They're underneath my skin and under the clothes. So, see, now that shirt is just there in the right spot because of all that work I did. And the arm is in the right spot because of all that work I did. I don't have to leave those lines on there. I actually want to hide them now. And I know it's hard to erase and not lose your lines, so work carefully. Hopefully you used your pencil lightly, and I can keep tuning my picture as I do that. Okay, there we go. And now down here, I can take that off there. And what is my person doing? Are they sprinting? Are they playing soccer? I could change the clothes and make them doing something else. Are they playing outside? I am trying to think what my idea is going to be. I think my person is just going to be playing with their friends. I'm going to put some slippers on there. See how I've got a little line there, a little line there, and slippers. That easy. Last thing, well, where is your person? What are they doing? Are they running on the grass? Are they in your backyard? Is there a fence? Are they at the beach? Where is your person and what are they doing? So, I want to double check. Is my head 1 unit? Yes. Did my arms, top of my arms, are they still 1 unit? And the lower part of my arms? Yes. Over here, 1 unit, 1 unit. From my neck to my hips, 2 units. From my hips to my knees, 1, 2 units. And down here, 1, 2. 1, 2. And 1, 2. Double check as you go. You want to make sure and look at your artwork and go, what else does it need? And then if you've gotten this far, why not color it? I'll leave that up to you. If you want to color it, or if you want to use your other paper to maybe try a new one. Take a look at your drawing. How did this come out? How are you feeling about this way of drawing people? I know you might have your own way of drawing people, but I'm proud of you for trying this one out today. Later on, after you know this way of drawing people, you can take your own way of drawing people and pick between or even bring them together into a new way of drawing people. I just keep trying to give you more tools so that you can be even more of a unique artist, each of you in your own way. Okay. I think I'm going to keep working on mine and see what I turn it into. But also, next week, we're going to have another project that uses this way of drawing people. So you can practice it more. Watch this video again and try drawing a person in a different pose, right? There's so many ways you can use this. And so finally, here is your reflection question. What was a challenge you faced while drawing today? And how did you find your way through that challenge? What resources did you use? Did you stop and watch the video again? Did you take a breath and come back to your artwork? Did you keep looking and just notice what was necessary to make it turn out the way that you wanted to? What challenge did you find in today's artwork, and how did you meet that challenge? Make sure that you hang up your artwork somewhere that your family can enjoy it. Take a photo so you can share it with me and with your teacher online. I really love seeing your artwork, really I do. And then I'll see you again next week for more art. And yes, we will be using this way of drawing people. Okay, hui ho!